There comes a time in life when the world grows quiet, when each step is slower but somehow more meaningful. This is a space for that moment, a place where movement is gentle and healing is still possible. Welcome to the soft side of life. There comes a time when getting out of bed feels heavier than it used to, not because the world changed, but because something inside us grew quieter. You don't rush to the door anymore. You sit, you breathe, and you wonder, why does standing feel like climbing a mountain? Margaret is 72. She used to walk every morning around her backyard in Illinois, but lately, even reaching the kitchen feels like a journey. The hallway seems longer, the stairs look taller, and her steps, once strong and steady, now hesitate. It's not pain that holds her back. It's something softer, but heavier. Doubt. She doesn't say it out loud, because how do you explain that you're not afraid of falling, but afraid you might not get back up? One afternoon, her granddaughter comes to visit. She watches Margaret move slowly and asks, "Grandma, don't you want to go outside today?" Margaret smiles, softly, but inside, something stirs. That night, she writes in her journal, "I used to move without thinking. Now, I think too much and move too little." Then she writes again, "Maybe I haven't lost my strength. Maybe I just forgot how to reach for it." The next morning, she doesn't jump up. She stretches, slowly, gently, not far, not fast, but something inside begins to awaken. Sometimes, the first step isn't a walk. It's a whisper to your own body, "I'm still here." The next morning, Margaret stands by the door. She doesn't open it yet. She looks out. The trees are still there. The little path around the garden is still there, but something feels different. She slips on her walking shoes. Not new, not fancy, just the same old ones with the worn-out soles. Her hand reaches for the doorknob and pauses. Not because she's afraid, but because this small moment, this quiet decision, feels sacred. She opens the door. The air is cool. A bird calls from the tree. Margaret steps out. She doesn't rush, she doesn't push, she simply walks. One step, then another around the garden the way she used to. And with each step, her breath deepens. Her shoulders relax, her spirit begins to rise. The path hasn't changed, but she has, because healing doesn't always come with noise. Sometimes it arrives with footsteps on familiar ground. And a whisper inside, "I'm walking again. I'm walking again. I'm walking again." Margaret kept going every morning, just a few small moves. She didn't call it exercise, she called it remembering how to be kind to my body. At first, her knees cracked, her balance felt off, her breath was short, but she kept showing up, one gentle motion at a time. Then one morning, she walked a little farther, not much, just from the kitchen to the mailbox. But her body, it remembered. It remembered how to carry weight. It remembered how to shift, to adjust, to balance. And more than that, it remembered joy. Not the joy of running, not the joy of dancing, but the quiet joy of moving without fear. Because healing isn't about being young again. It's about giving your body a reason to trust you again. Moving isn't about a distance. It's not about how far you go or how fast you get there. It's about noticing that you're still willing to take a step. Margaret didn't measure her progress in miles. She measured it. In mornings, she didn't give up. In moments when she chose movement over staying still. One day, she stood by the window and reached up to open it. The sun touched her face. A breeze came in. She closed her eyes and whispered, "I'm still part of the world out there." Not running, not rushing, just present, still breathing, still moving, because sometimes just standing by the window is the bravest step of the day. Strength doesn't always arrive with noise. It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention. Sometimes it shows up as the quiet decision to keep going. Margaret didn't wake up one day feeling powerful. There was no sudden change, no big moment, just days, strung together by tiny choices, to breathe deeper, to sit up straighter, to take one more step, even when no one is watching. Over time, those small moments stacked up, and one morning she realized she was no longer afraid to move. That is how strength comes. Not with a bang, but with a whisper, a rhythm, a return to trust. Healing is not a single moment. It doesn't arrive in a flash or appear after one good day. It lives in repetition. Margaret didn't change overnight. She changed because she did the small things again and again. She stretched, she walked a little, she paused for tea, she stepped into sunlight, not once, but every day. Some days felt easier, others were hard, but she kept showing up, and slowly, her body began to believe her, because healing isn't about effort, it's about consistency, a quiet rhythm, a soft promise. I will return tomorrow too. Sunlight is more than just light. It's warmth, it's clarity, it's a gentle reminder that the world is still turning. Every morning, Margaret sits by the window. 10 minutes, nothing fancy, just her and the sun. She doesn't read, she doesn't scroll, she just lets the light touch her face. Her joints ache a little less now. Her breath feels deeper. Her mood lighter, all from a quiet routine that costs nothing but gives so much. We forget that nature heals us, that sunlight is a free kind of medicine, no prescription, just presence. Your breath is always there. When the body aches, when the mind spins, when nothing feels right, your breath remains. Margaret learned this on a day full of fear. She didn't try to fix her mood. She didn't reach for answers. She just sat still and breathed. In, out, in again. One breath, then another. No rush, no force. And slowly, she felt something settle inside. Not perfect, but steady. Your breath doesn't ask for anything. It only offers a quiet place to begin again. It's okay if your life is quiet now, if your days feel small, if no one really checks in anymore, because flowers don't bloom in loud cities. They bloom in still gardens, in quiet mornings, in soft sunlight. Margaret thought she was done blooming, too old to grow, too late to feel joy again. But each morning her hands touched the soil, her tea steamed gently, and her heart softened. A quiet life can still bloom, not in noise but in grace. Thank you for spending these gentle minutes with us. If today felt calmer, even just a little, then the story has done its part. If you'd like more soft moments like this, you're always welcome here. Feel free to subscribe. But no rush, we'll be right here, waiting for when you need a quiet pause again. Until next time, stay kind to your heart.